What's going on, everybody? So, check it out, right? Someone asked about the Pluto and Sagittarius generation. What do I suggest or recommend for their path and their journey, whatever the case may be? Which is a great question. Sometimes I forget, part of me, that the younger generations actually watch some of my stuff. You know what I'm saying? My son is part of the Pluto and Sagittarius generation as well. So he amazes me with stuff. I'll probably use him for an example in this video. So for the Pluto and Sagittarius generation, first let's look at what occurred during the time that this transition took place. And that is the Roman Catholic Church being, brought into question about the activities and practices that they were doing inside of the church, right? So already we have a thing going on that is questionable, and a lot of power resides within it. This generation will be periodically tested based upon their values and their ethics, okay, and how it pertains to the societal trends as a whole, as on a wider spectrum. So let me just say that in simpler terms, though. You know what I mean? A trend, which can be, the newest leather jacket that comes out, right? Everybody's buying it. Will you buy it, Pluto and Sagittarius? You understand what I'm talking about? Will you jump in that wavelength and say, hey, I got the jacket too. Look, I'm cool. Or look, I can do it too. You know what I mean? Or will you say, how much does it cost? Will you compare it to that other good or service? How much does that cost? And will you make a decision? Let's say you had to make a decision based upon these two different things. What will you decide to do? Where do you place your value, right? And when it comes to ethics, right? Value and ethics, that's going to be the main component for you guys. When it comes to ethics, I want people to understand what ethics is. Morals and ethics. Let me break this down real quick. Morals is what a person determines is right or wrong, right? But check this out. People say often, oh, you know the difference between right and wrong. Don't say that for everybody, because your right and wrong may be different from my right and wrong. You understand what I'm saying? Especially for Pluto and Sagittarius people, your belief system is at peak here. Sagittarius is very much entrenched in beliefs, right? So if your belief differs with someone else's belief, are you supposed to be categorized inside of the same box that they put those beliefs, people with those beliefs in? No, right? You're going to oppose their beliefs. You don't share the same beliefs. You have a different belief system. So does that mean you're wrong because you believe different from them? You understand what I'm saying? Now, in some instances or scenarios, you might find yourself in a situation where you may be outed, or you may feel that an injustice has been done because those people over there with that belief system has been able to wield power over you in some type of way, or has been able to influence people in a type of way that outnumbers you in your belief system, things of that nature. These are the type of things that your generation is going to be faced with. You know what I mean? But back to my explanation about morals and ethics. Morals means right and wrong, that's it. But your right and wrong may differ from my right and wrong. You understand what I'm saying? Now, ethics, right? And this is not the same thing. Ethics is closely associated with morals, but what it really is the legality of a person and person's belief about something, and how many people as a collective will let it get it passed. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, let me give you an example. All right, this is a perfect example to mix both of them, morals and ethics. Just yesterday I read a blog, right? A fantastic blog from an actress about legal immigration, right? The process, detailed down to the costs, who you need to talk to, who you need to speak to. Everything was inside of this post. I didn't know all of this stuff. This is great information. Blew me away, right? So what I'm saying here is about immigration, right? This process, this thing. You have legal immigration, you have illegal immigration. Now, the difference is, this is what happens. A group of people, a collective group of people, right? So you would call your nation in this scenario, will say, okay, I believe, since we together and our forefathers came here and slaughtered and killed everybody, some of us still survived, but we killed everybody and we conquered the land, right? It made us a nation. We are now a nation together, united, right? So we feel now that those people over there past this line, over there past that line, over there past that line, over there past this line, cannot come past those lines. We have agreed as a collective that that just cannot be, right? And we made a law stating that. And we will put weapons and all types of stuff around to prevent that from happening, right? So what happens is this. You may get some letters or some mail from some people of interest to you, right? To where your preference starts to build. Your value system may start to say, that wouldn't be such a bad idea. Like some people from outside forces keep pitching stuff to you, right? And you're like, well, we do all collectively agree that you guys don't belong here like that. However, for the right price, we think it's wrong for you to be here, but for the right price, we'll make it right. Right? Now, this is a prime example of morals and ethics. Is we all agree that it's wrong for you to be here, but we also are the law. So we can make a stipulation that states, well, you can come here based upon this criteria, right? So again, back to the blog post from this person, this lady discussed what it takes, right? And this is why I'm putting emphasis on this, because a value-based system. Values are going to be critical to your generation. It's a lot of money involved here. There's a lot of paperwork. There's a lot of tired and stressful days. There's a lot of days that are questioning yourself of whether you're going to make it or not, right? There's also a lot of connections that you have to make that are value-based connections. What I mean by that is reputable companies, right? Representing you, stating that you've been employed here, you've been employed here, you took pictures here, you shook hands with this person here. Reputable companies. So when I say reputable, I mean not a tarnished image. I mean good credit ratings and stuff like that. Reputable. Your name is substantial, solidified in the nation, right? So my point here is that this person placed their value and bet on going that route. Now, at the same time, right, you have people, and you could even attach globalism and nationalism to this as well if you listen deep into my speech. You can also know that there are people who have their own value-based system too, and they're saying, well, look, we're part of that law too, and we feel like, we can break some of these walls down because there are jobs out here that pertain to less value, and when you look at monetary based value, right, that need to be filled. These jobs need to be filled, and these people, we let these people in past that line over there that we said it was wrong for them to cross. For the right price, they can come. So the right price in that scenario is cheaper labor. You understand what I'm talking about? And in some instances, crime. Let's just be all out, flat out, official right here, because you guys not only are about that, you're going to need that. Because again, you're going to be pressured by societal trends that has the potential to influence you to make a decision based upon that trend, right? You can oppose that trend and say, no, I place my value here. The more that you guys as a collective join together and say, this is where our value is at, and you show that with your dollar, that is where you're going to be extremely powerful. I'm going to get to that in a bit, though. Let me make sure I mark that in my brain and get back to that. But as I was saying, right? So the ethics get involved when illegal immigration takes place, and people are saying, well, that's not right. We all agree that that's not right. It's wrong for them to be here. Now, again, people in charge of the nation say, well, for the right price, we'll make it right. And lo and behold, whether you believe this or not, and not that I even have concrete evidence, but if you look at some of the posts, the media posts, which I sometimes it just flashes across my computer and I just happen to see it, but there are people involved with our nation's laws who are approving that as well, illegal immigration as well. You know what I'm saying? So the ethics get involved, which will come into the form of your politicians. Well, Can they come or can they not? Can we just do away with the whole immigration thing because y'all are letting these people come in and do whatever it is, this, that, and the third that they want? You know what I'm saying? So what's the sense of even charging so much to these people who are coming over here doing it legally? Well, I'll tell you what happens, right? It still goes back to what you place your value in. A lot of this goes to minding your business too. Again, though, you know, when things get collective, it gets more challenging to not mind your business because now you're large swaths of groups who are very evident and substantiated in your nation to where it's like, well, we're going to put a representative out for the group that speaks how the rest of us as a collective feel. But it's going to come down to your value system, right? So if that person who swam here, crawled here, and even got some help with some political connections, whatever, some military guards at the borders, whatever, to get here. And once they got here, they was going to get a job once they got here, but they may have had to, like, you know, sleep with two other people in one bedroom when they got here, whatever the case may be. If they work a laborious job for the next 20 years while they're here, they don't get the full immigration legal status, right? That was expressed in this blog that I'm talking about. If they don't get that work visa and all of those necessary components to building their value system, then you got to realize that is their value system, right? So it's at that level. So if the job only pays $9.50 an hour, that's what they're basing their value system on. If there's no promotion in that job, that's what they're basing their value system on. If they got to sell crack cocaine on the side, that's what they're basing their value system on. If they get locked up for selling crack cocaine on the side, and they got to sit in a cell full of it, that's what they base their value system on, right? If they say, oh, well, I'm in American jail, that's what they base their value system on. If they say, you know, I'm not going to learn a language, that's what I'm going to be okay in my, you know, community, whatever language is being spoken here. You know, I know people who speak my native language, I'm going to be okay. That's what they're basing their value system on, right? And then you got your people, again, that know 3 languages. They came over here, they paid the fees, they worked, they took the odd jobs, they might have went for something higher. You know what I'm saying? When I say higher, I mean costs more and is held in higher regard, right? That's what they base their value system in. So that's what they're going for, right? So again, this is the main theme for Pluto and Sagittarius people. Not only that, all of you should have your passports. All of you should be having your passports because we're talking about Sagittarius here. So again, you see that I kind of like slid nationalism and globalism inside of this speech that I'm saying, and it's because, you know, the lines are being blurred now. The lines are being blurred. So it's like you got people who rule this nation with an iron glove, who says who can come in, who can come out, and on what circumstances that can happen, right? It's not as stern as it used to be from my understanding of history. You understand what I'm saying? So that's letting you know globalism has an impact. And at the same time, you have nationals who are, whether they're getting stronger or not is questionable, but you see their expression in almost upheaval in some instances where they're saying, okay, this is getting a little bit out of hand. But again, I say focus on your value system, right? Because if the people who are in upheaval or complain, they're going to apply pressure, you know, and what their value system is going to have impact on how that pressure is applied. So I'm basically saying, if you're a laborer who also, maybe you get $10.50 an hour, $11.50 an hour, but you feel that your tax money is funding something that is illegal, then you may see the pressure and the upheaval of that person just as much as you'll see someone who earns $100,000, right? Or their attitudes may differ. The person who earns $100,000 may say, "Oh, well, since I live over here, where everybody's all right, you know, yeah, go ahead, use my tax money and help those guys out. Why not? You know." this country was built off immigration and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So what if they're illegal? You know, let them go through the process and do it the way that everybody else does. They may not be closely attached to that or even threatened by that the same way that the laborer who's earning the same type of wage in the same industry is. You understand what I'm talking about? So again, it's all going to come into value system, right? Did you take this specific job because so many chains of these stores was opening up and hiring? So you say, oh yeah, I'm gonna go take a job. And now you're in a situation where you're distraught because of the competition is coming from like illegal immigration. I'm just throwing examples out there so you clearly understand this, right? And if that is so, that's because you spent your time in valuing that chain of restaurants that opened up and you took that job or whatever the case may be, right? There's some other people out there, like you hear about the starving students, starving artists, right? Some of these people are really starving out there. You know what I'm saying? Because they're putting their all and they're sacrificing joy, they're sacrificing new pairs of shoes. All of that is on the back burner for them mastering their craft and becoming such a valuable asset in that specific industry that they can't be, they can't be denied. You know what I mean? Values, critical value decisions. You know what I'm saying? And again, it's going to become along the lines of ethics. What is allowed? What can legally be pushed, right? Because some of you may have, especially when it comes to Pluto, right? You gotta think about it like this. This is an obsessive planet. This is a power move planet, but it's really about the individual, right? So, but this can also be a ruthless place. You know what I'm saying? This can be a relentless place that stops at nothing, doesn't consider anything that's in its path, right? But when you face a collective, you will face resistance as an individual. So you have to take this into consideration, right? If you do careful calculations, wherever your Pluto is, you can be able to decipher better moves and decisions to make. You know what I mean? You just got to check yourself and say, wait a minute, I am a little bit too ruthless right now, or this is what I'm saying. Can I get away with that? Because ethics is going to be involved. How many people have done this before? You understand what I'm talking about? Sure, it might be controversial, but you may also want to push the envelope even if it's controversial, because you guys have a belief system that must challenge the status quo, right? Another path that you could look at, or another way to look at your path, is to look where Pluto is aspecting, and I mean this for an impactful field. So what you can see right now is Pluto is almost exact sextile Neptune and Pisces. So you got to think about Neptune and Pisces too, right? That's when religion gets revealed for what it really is. Scientology, Roman Catholic Church, all of that, right? So again, it's like what they do, church and state. The drug dealers, for example, may come in and say, look, between you and I, right? What's a good place to wash money at, right? If I'm smart, I'm going to look at the church and I'm going to say, Father, forgive us. You know what I'm saying? But I'm taking a little $40, $50 out of everybody's paycheck every week because they want to escape reality. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where they're placing their value at. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass you a lot of this money, because what I'm doing in the same instances, I'm sending them all to you anyway, because they're going to be all fucked up come Sunday, and they're going to feel all fucked up for the shit that they did over the weekend, the wild, freaky, kinky shit that they did over the weekend, getting high and all that. And they're going to come to you and seek the Lord. You know what I mean? And they're going to put another $30 to $50 in that plate that you pass around. You understand what I'm saying? So yeah, you keep doing the religious thing. You stay out of all of this trouble or whatever you think this might be, right? And then we're going to run this whole thing, and next thing you know, you got a church over here, church on that corner, church over there, and everybody's praising the Lord. You understand what I'm saying? So again, it's ethics. What can you get away with, right? But now all of that's revealed. Boom, hocus pocus. So another primary thing that your generation, you guys and gals got to look at is, what's the truth? And what's just really a bunch of bullshit? You know what I'm saying? And you got to understand this. It's not that you won't find principles inside of those teachings that are religious. The factor is, what is your principles? You understand what I'm saying? Just because they tell you all of that stuff is right. It doesn't mean if it's not right to you, it's just not right to you. That goes for every religion. You know what I'm saying? I'm just using the religions that got caught up in, oh, this is also a religious thing. Since you might as well just even the playing field, right? Terrorist acts in the name of religion. So we can look at it from the Islamic perspective as well. Well, I have to say the Muslim perspective, not just Islamic. I think that's too broad of a stroke, but from the Muslim perspective as well. You know, extreme terrorists doing acts in the name of their religion. Also, you look at this, right? People utilizing the Christian banner when they go to war, right? What do they say? Oh, we're a Christian nation. The Christian teaching says, turn the other cheek, right? So how do you go to somebody else's land and like bomb the shit out of them in the name of Christianity? You understand what I'm talking about? So Christianity also became a political force during you guys' generation. Or that has something to do with Neptune and Pisces, one or the other. But Neptune is in Pisces right now, so you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, that deals with Neptune and Pisces, but Neptune is in Pisces right now. So there's an opportunity for your generation, right? Happening right now, because we're talking about Pluto, so you can apply Pluto being in Capricorn right now, sextile to Neptune inside of Pisces, and take advantage of what you know about what I just told you about Pluto in the Sagittarius generation. You know what I'm saying? And this is why I say get your passports, go out and travel, because you don't want to hedge on globalism not winning, if that's even a thing, right? The mesh is occurring. It's happening, right? So you're still going to have strong nationalists who decide what can come in, what can go out. So that's an example. That's a confirmation of it actually happening, globalism. But if I was you guys, I wouldn't hedge on staying here based upon what you've read in history books and patriotism and flag waving and stuff like that. I wouldn't do that if I were you guys. The Sagittarius here. We're talking about travel. We're talking about higher belief systems. We're talking about you going to experience other cultures, finding out about their cultures, and not being influenced to where you're judging cultures based upon what you see in all of these movies, or you're judging cultures based upon what you see, from influential people who control narratives and stuff like that. You on your own need to go experience that and feel what you determine is applied to you, or how it resonates with you when you experience interaction with these different cultures. You might find that everything is the same, or you might find the actual differences, but your differences may differ. You understand what I'm talking about? So again, like in the last video, I spoke about how Pluto and Virgo generation spilled over into the Pluto and Libra generation, our generation, and then we get to unite based upon those separate generations. So it's the same with you guys, right? You guys get to benefit not just off of our generation, but the generation before you guys. You know what I mean? Which is the Pluto and Scorpio generation. But this is something that I must stress as well, right? Because I have conversations with my kids sometimes, and I'll be like, those Jordans. I don't get it, man. Like, I got it before. Like, I used to buy Jordans when I was in my 20s, but even I stopped. You know what I'm saying? Because I just don't see. Like, I'm not a ball player. Why am I spending so much money on these sneakers? And the kids now, they buy them, wear them one time, put them back in the box, and they sell them. But then again, that's the value system. You know what I'm saying? That's the value system. So I can't say he's wrong because they cost more than a pair of Pumas, or they cost more than a pair of whatever. You know what I'm saying? Filas, or whatever the case may be. So he's placing value on a trend, right? A societal trend. However, I just tell him, just be aware, because the same rock that's found next to a diamond, it took the same amount of labor to get to that same dirt pebble that's right next to the diamond. But people place more value on the diamond, right? Costs the same amount of money for both of those rocks. So just think about that, because you're going to face the pressure to make decisions based upon what a lot of different people are agreeing with, right? So when you go overseas and you see these people, you see how they move, you see what they do, you can benefit from that should you know the value system that is especially placed inside of your home nation, right? So if you know the mechanics, a lot of people, I would say a lot of people don't know the mechanics because if they knew, the value system would change. You know what I'm saying? So back to the Pluto and Scorpio generation, you got to think a lot of diseases, a lot of drugs, a lot of underworld stuff was involved with that generation. So you can see how Pluto and Sagittarius generation can be impacted by their prior generation. You know what I'm saying? So for us, how do Pluto and Scorpio generation benefit? Well, if global revolution was at our fingertips, right, and we established ways for people to, let's use drugs for an example, because that's what our generation produced if you really think about it. Drugs can come over from any which way now. You know what I mean? And it's like plentiful. It's so in abundance from that Pluto and Scorpio generation. You know what I'm saying? It's a wild generation. Like, they do them. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't, it's very intense. Like, they put a lot of value in that. It's pretty much what I'm saying. In the underworld. You know what I mean? Now, it's up to you Pluto and Sagittarius people to decide. Are you going to continue that? You know, they say the meek shall inherit the earth. So it's like, are you going to inherit that? Right? Because again, if you take it back to the example that I used with the church and the drug dealers, it's like, if drugs do make the economy move and it does create jobs, right? Then is it so bad? You know what I'm saying? Is it so bad? The attitude of some of these kids, Pluto and Sagittarius generation, is just like, well, why is drugs bad? I know a lot of rock stars. I know a lot of celebrities, millionaires who smoke weed. Why is weed bad? You know what I'm saying? Again, influence and societal trends, you are going to be faced with periodic spurts of having to make decisions based upon those societal trends. And value, despite how much you try to go around it or whatever the case may be, value is going to be contributed to these two things. I'm going to equate time and energy. So how you spend your time / energy and how you spend your money. All right? That's flat out it, because this is what the decisions are based upon. The money. You understand what I'm saying? So if a person spends thousands of dollars to come over here legally and establish themselves legally, you can expect that they're going to make thousands of dollars legally, because that's what they put in and that's what they expected to get out. No one knows exactly. Well, maybe if you study astrology, you might have a better grip on when it's going to actually transpire, but sometimes it comes with more struggle. Sometimes it comes with more time, right? But if you have to wait more time, how are you spending your energy, right? Are you saying, oh, I can't wait that long, I'm going to sell some crack? You know what I mean? Fuck that. Like, where's the cocaine at? You know what I'm saying? If you do, that's where you place your value system. You know what I'm saying? They may be making tons of money in cocaine, and that's you just like, well, I thought I wanted to be X, Y, and Z, but cocaine is just making too much money for me. I need a piece of that. If that's where you place your value system now, that's what you're going to do. You know what I'm saying? But that, again, is it based upon a societal trend, or is it based upon people that you hung out with who does cocaine or that sells cocaine, and you're like, these guys aren't so bad. This is fun, actually. Value, where you put your money and where you spend your time and your energy, right? Because the whole shift of what is the focal point of your nation and the globe at large is going to be based upon how the decisions are made. So again, if you, Pluto and Sagittarius, as a personal power unit, start placing your money here on a consistent basis, here, here, and here, 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 and here, 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 and here. Now this person is looking at you and is shifting from the generation previous. They're like, I like how that person is moving. So they start doing the same thing. And now you guys are moving on the same accord, right? So again, with overseas, there are people who've been overseas who are still benefiting from our generation because they've made establishment overseas. So if you went overseas and you're doing, like, they love what you're doing over here overseas because the agenda or the program or the advertisement, the influence of what's being done here has been pushed over there overnight. You ain't even know about it. You don't even know how much wealth is over there for you because you're stagnant over here based upon whatever national trends may be occurring, whatever societal trends are occurring here. You may be caught up in that whole wave, not knowing that there's a whole bunch of different colored money over there waiting for you. You know what I'm saying? So, how you spend your money, where you spend your time and your energy. Another thing, the sextile occurring between Pluto and Neptune, right? If you're doing things that are creative right now, you have the potential and the power to sway, to persuade, to influence, to change the minds of others. Will you become the same thing that you dislike? And I say dislike, that's if you dislike the way certain narratives or agendas are pushed or forced on you, who are possibly made you, influence you to make decisions that didn't benefit you, possibly, right? But again, it comes to morals and ethics. What you determine to be right or wrong. You might write a script about what you determine to be right or wrong, right? And you might place the current ethical standard where you are, or maybe in another country, in that film as well. And you may want to persuade and influence the minds of whoever that film could reach. But just think about it, how quick that can broadcast in today's times, right? How many people you got to ask for permission to do that today? No gatekeepers can really stop you from doing that today. Again, if you spend your energy and your time doing that, and you put your value, your monetary based system, you apply that to that creative project, then you can see that have some type of impact in the world as well. You know what I'm saying? The lines are pretty much thinning, is pretty much what I'm saying. The barriers are thinning despite how many guns are around and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? The lines are thinning. People are finding their way. It's important to mind your business and being the business of finding your way, finding your faith, finding your belief system, and just, seek the truth. This is the biggest thing for you guys. Seek the truth. Don't go for the bullshit. It's going to be almost impossible to go for the bullshit with you guys anyway because of the age. We're in Aquarius age. Pisces age, it was easier. It was simpler. The veil was still there. As far as the stories with the churches and all that, you already know before that came out, like, there was a veil and it was very evident. Now you get to see the truth of the matter. People can't really lie to you no more. You know what I'm saying? Get involved. Pluto's inside of Capricorn, shaking up government, just rattling government from side to side. You could be government today. That's how questionable government is right now. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not even saying that laughing like you're not qualified. We're all qualified. The sun characteristics it's about self-governance. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, what makes you think a government is needed, right? A government is needed when people fall astray from being who exactly they are. You know what I mean? And in its infancy, it's a beautiful thing. However, another video. You determine on your own. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? What your belief system is on that. You know what I mean? You seek your truth. You find that out. You may favor another government, the way they handle their GDP and all of that. Their educational system, their healthcare system. Get your passport. You know what I'm saying? That's what I got for y'all. I'm out.